The analysis shows that it is a billion times more likely to observe this mixed profile more likely to observe this mixed DNA profile. It's a billion times more likely to observe this mixed DNA profile if the major contributor is Mori Katanga and the minor contributors are the deceased Henry Katanga and Patricia Kakwanza. As opposed to being a major contributor and Patricia Kakwanza being a minor contributor. Being a major contributor and Patricia Kakwanza being a minor contributor. Cannot be excluded. Cannot be excluded as donor contributors to the DNA on exhibit marked 4-1. I mean from specimen 682. From specimen 682
cannot be
included as donor contributors to the DNA on specimen 682 Y23 S017 derived from exhibit marked 4-1. That is a swabbing from the pistol magazine. Exhibit marked 4-1. Swabbing from the pistol magazine.
Patricia, Madam Mori Katanga, Shaga made enyinje kagumuruwe hamwe na Patricia Kakwanza gutsinda kuba kubasa kujihakana dero mu rugo nibashanyira amakundeke.
Next under G melody is specimen 682.
Envision bakache number ukakashana na David.
Y23 S019. That was derived from exhibit marked 4.
Bakajiha ahachita chibahire enkundu nayo enche kokani nayo nizekata kuishaga bayabantu benshi.
Of at least 3 donor contributors.
Babekata bakagomba bantu bashatu.
3 donor contributors. The following set of hypotheses was advanced in the analysis of this profile. The first hypothesis in the analysis of this mixed DNA profile. The first hypothesis was that the deceased Henry Katanga, the suspects Mori Katanga and Patricia Kakwanza are donor contributors.
Bakashanga ngoje shagama neyo mjenzi Henry Katanga, Mori Katanga hamwe na Patricia Kakwanza.
the second one is the alternate of the first. Is that the deceased Henry Katanga and two untested individuals
icya kabiri nakashanga umugenzi muri Henry Katanga hamwe n'abandi babiri
from the Ugandan population who are unrelated to the suspects Mori Katanga and Patricia Kakwanza, who are unrelated to the suspects Mori Katanga and Patricia Kakwanza, are donor contributors.
hamwe n'abandi babiri ubwo barije mushaga meje.
I wrote the analysis shows the analysis shows that it is a billion times more likely to observe this mixed DNA profile. This is a billion times more likely to observe this mixed DNA profile. If the major contributor is Mori Katanga, minor contributors are the deceased Henry Katanga and Patricia Kakwanza. As opposed to the deceased, that is Henry Katanga, and two other untested, unrelated individuals from the Ugandan population. Of my Lord, I can infer. I can infer that the suspect, Mori Katanga, being a major contributor, and Patricia Kakwanza being a minor contributor. Cannot be excluded as donor contributors to the DNA specimen 682, Y23, derived from exhibit marked 4. Swabbing from the trigger and trigger house.
yahenda natira kino ekiba kunanga eshaga meje yubache bire eyagiro mu exhibit ina neya Mori Katanga hamwe na Patricia Kakwanza anobugenzi eyibashangire aha Kristo nashaha kunagwa Kristo n'umudeje.
This is specimen 682 Y23.
Envision akatena ambakaga shinana nebiri waya runesha
S020.
S020
derived from X bit mark.
bakajiha kintu kibahire namba ina.
This is a swabbing from the pistol.
Nayoneshaga mayibikire ahakundenshe.
The entire length of the barrel. The surface, the barrel surface, or others call it the slide. The barrel. This was also a mixed DNA profile. So the DNA profile derived from this specimen is a mixed DNA profile of at least 2 donor contributors. At least 2 donor contributors. To analyze it, we advanced 2 sets of hypotheses. The first one being the deceased Henry Katanga and the suspect Mori Katanga are donor contributors. The second one being the alternative of the first, that the deceased Henry Katanga and
these people can explain. You are not changing anything. Okay.
the second hypothesis is that the deceased Henry Katanga and one untested individual from the Ghanaian population who is unrelated to the suspect, Mori Katanga, are donor contributors.
Who's unrelated to?
Who is unrelated to the suspect, Mori Katanga. Donor contributors. From the analysis, my lord, it is a billion times more likely to observe this mixed DNA profile. If the major contributor is the deceased Henry Katanga, and the minor contributor is Mori Katanga, as opposed to the deceased Henry Katanga and another untested, unrelated individual from the Ghanaian population. Therefore, my lord, I can infer that the suspect, Mori Katanga, being a minor contributor, cannot be excluded as a donor contributor. DNA cannot be excluded as a donor contributor to the DNA on specimen, on specimen, specimen 682 Y23 S021 derived from exhibit mark D-3. This was a cutting from a swab. For my lord, the analysis shows that it's a billion times more likely to observe, billion times more likely to observe this mixed DNA profile. If the major contributor is the deceased. If the major contributor is the deceased Henry Katanga, and the minor contributor is Molly Katanga, and the minor contributor is Molly Katanga, as opposed to the deceased Henry Katanga, and one other untested, the deceased, opposed to the deceased Henry Katanga, and one other untested, unrelated individual from the Ugandan population. Therefore, my lord, I can infer therefore, my lord, I can infer that the suspect, Molly Katanga, being a minor contributor, cannot be excluded, as a donor contributor to the DNA specimen 682 Y23 S021 derived from exhibit marked D-3. That is cutting from the swab for gunshot residues obtained during post-mortem.
The trial with gunshot. What? Gunshot what?
Gunshot residue obtained during post-mortem. Next, my lord, is specimen 682. That is K. that is 682 Y23 S022. This is drive.
You assist. It's for the front style. It's for the front style. It's a fireman from the back of the.
This is a mixed DNA profile of at least 2 donor contributors.
Mixed DNA profile.
Of at least 2 donor contributors. In the analysis of this mixed DNA profile, 2 sets of hypotheses were advanced. The first set of hypotheses, my lord, first hypothesis is that the deceased Henry Katanga and the suspect Mori Katanga are donor contributors. The second, which is the alternative of the first, is that the deceased Henry Katanga and one untested individual from the Ghana population who is unrelated Mori Katanga are donor contributors.
Yes.
The result of this examination reveals that it's a billion times more likely to observe this mixed DNA profile if the major contributor is Mori Katanga, and the minor contributor is the deceased Henry Katanga. As opposed to the deceased Henry Katanga and one other untested, unrelated individual from the Ghana population. Therefore, my Lord, I can infer. That the suspect Mori Katanga, being a major contributor, cannot be excluded as a donor contributor. The DNA on specimen, 682 Y23 S022 derived from exhibit marked 5-1, swabbing from the projectile recovered from the bed of the deceased. 5-1. Covered from the bed of the deceased. Next, my lord, under L. This is a specimen 682 Y23 S023. This was derived from exhibit marked 7. This was a swabbing. This was a swabbing on the cartridge casing from that bed, recovered from the bed sheet. Recovered from the bed sheet. My lord, the DNA profile for this specimen is a partial mixed DNA profile. It's a partial mixed DNA profile of at least 2 donor contributors. DNA profile. Of at least 2 donor contributors. In order to examine this profile, 2 sets of hypotheses were advanced. First hypothesis being the deceased Henry Katanga and the suspect Moni Katanga are donor contributors. Moni Katanga are donor contributors. The second one, which is the alternative of the first, is that 2 untested individuals. From the Ugandan population who are unrelated to the deceased, Henry Katanga, and the suspect, Katanga Moli, are donor contributors. My lord, from this analysis, it's a billion times more likely to observe this partial mixed DNA profile. It's a billion times more likely to observe this partial mixed DNA profile. If if two untested individuals from the Ugandan population who are unrelated to the deceased, Henry Katanga, and the suspect, Mori Katanga, one related to the deceased, Henry Katanga, and the suspect, Mori Katanga, are donor contributors. As opposed to the deceased, Henry Katanga, and the suspect, Mori Katanga, being donor contributors. Therefore, my Lord, I can infer that the deceased Henry Katanga and the suspect Mori Katanga are excluded as donor contributors. To the DNA on specimen are excluded as donor contributors to the DNA on specimen 682 Y23 S023 derived Y23 S023 derived from exhibit mark 7, which is the swabbing from the cartridge casing recovered from the bedsheet. Under M, we have specimen 682. Y23 S031 derived from 682 Y23 S031 marked 24-3. Dash 3. 24-3. This is a swabbing from the 106 centimeter wooden stick. Swabbing from the 106 centimeter wooden stick recovered from the southeastern corner. Corner. My Lord, This is a partial mixed DNA profile which is recovered from the specimen. Of at least 2 donor contributors. A partial mixed DNA profile that was recovered from this specimen. Of at least 2 donor contributors. At least 2 donor contributors. In examining this partial mixed DNA profile, we advance to sets of hypotheses. The first being the deceased Henry Katanga, and the suspect Mori Katanga are donor contributors.
Henry Katanga na Madam Mori Katanga.
And the second one, which is the alternate to the first, being that the deceased Henry Katanga and one untested individual and one untested individual from the Ugandan population who is not related to the suspect Mori Katanga are donor contributors. The analysis shows that it is 1,000 times more likely. Yes. So 1,000 times more likely to observe this partial mixed DNA profile. If the major contributor observe this partial mixed DNA profile, if the major contributor is Mori Katanga, and the minor contributor is Henry Katanga, and the minor contributor is Henry Katanga. As opposed to the deceased Henry Katanga and one untested unrelated individual from the Ghanaian population. And therefore, my Lord, I can infer that the suspect Mori Katanga, being a major contributor, cannot be excluded as a donor contributor, to the DNA on specimen, cannot be excluded as a donor contributor to the DNA on specimen (682 by 23). S031 derived from exhibit marked 24.
This is what?
S031 derived from exhibit marked 24-3. That's the swabbing from 106 centimeter wooden stick recovered from the southeastern corner.
I note that your submit conclusions are the conclusions the same as what you have taken us through.
Yes, my lord. Those are the inferences.
Did you sign this report?
So you made it go. You see, what do you call it? Confusion as stated at all. Yes, okay.
Yes, my lord. I signed the report.
Ripoti yabeho ushagabe yanashobora akamunkuru. What capacity do you sign your report?
Yes, I signed it as the examiner supervisor review.
Akajitaho mkono kwe.
Lead examiner, supervisor and reviewer.
Akajitaho mkono kwe nk'omuntu owayeberere abantu ababiri bakicebera mu laboratory.
No, nobody else.
In your report, you have been mentioning about major and minor contributors. What does it mean for one to be a major and another to be a minor contributor?
My lord, for one to be a major contributor, yes, major DNA contributor, only simply means that their DNA is more prevalent on the item examined. It's more prevalent on the item being examined under the sets of hypotheses at once.
And maybe in practical terms, how that is happening.
Naturally, my lord, we all shed DNA. Shedding our DNA, we have to contact surfaces. In contact with the surfaces, in contact of these surfaces, we have a number of factors that can determine how much DNA we leave on those surfaces. The amount of DNA that one can leave on the surfaces. There are those factors which are to the individual. There are those factors which are to the individual. And that is you have what kind of cells are they shedding? Is it saliva? Is it blood? Is it skin cells? The type of cells that you're shedding.
There are those kind of factors that
Yes. Trying
to the individual.
yes, to the individual. What type of cells you're shedding? That being saliva, blood, skin cells. Or
Being, you see, saliva.
You don't know whether you are depositing saliva, which has the epithelial cells in your mouth.
Saliva, what?
Blood, which has got the white blood cells. Then also skin cells, which has got the keratinocytes, so those skin cells on your surface. So it depends. We don't know what you're shedding because. Then the next thing to look at is the object itself. It's the object itself that you're contacting. So the factors which can affect how much DNA you got classifies whether the surface is porous or non-porous. Start farmers. The intensity and the pressure that you apply on the surface. Primarily the intensity, pressure, friction. So all these can affect how much DNA you deposit on the surface. There are also pressure and friction. Then also, which part of the surface you have contacted. Which part of the surface, because not all surfaces are the same. Then also there are ambient conditions, which are quite various. Ambient conditions. Conditions. Yes. Temperature, humidity. Yes.
You also talked about partial DNA. How does this arise?
My lord, the partial DNA profile arises when you have recovered DNA that is below the nominal input amount, DNA that is below the nominal input amount, but above the threshold input amounts for PCR.
What was PCR?
Polymerase chain, that is the input amount for that stage we call polymerase chain reaction amplification. This is an indicator of, this is also affected by degradation, the degradation level of the DNA, how degraded the DNA is. And also its persistence on the object you are testing.
As we are drawing to the close, these exhibits you mentioned, what happens to them? Or the exhibits you have analyzed, what happens to them?
My Lord, once we are done with the report, I retrieve the exhibits from the temporary storage.
Kunkeza kuchebera ebintu ngiha abikubika
Together with my team,
hamwe na timu yanje
pack them,
the parking,
we pack them, seal them,
the whole seal,
and then transmit them back to the forensic gateway.
the rail
Forensic gateway.
Today,
To the forensic gateway.
the rail could be
So that these items can be sent back to the station exhibit storage
baze kugarura aha station nashi polisi
for safe custody.
aho bakubika.
However,
Konka
there are some exhibits
hariho bimwe
at the forensic gateway. There are those exhibits at the forensic gateway.
hariho ebintu ebimwe forensic gateway ekyo kigombe
We will request
ebikikuza kushaba
to be returned
okutyamurwa
for submission to another laboratory
kubyongerayo kukyebera
within the same facility
aho kukyebera kubyongerayo kukyebera ahandi
undertake another set of analysis
within the same
facility
functionality,
to undertake another examination, forensic examination
okuzamumisho n'okukyebera omulundi ogundi
with the different requests.
kugira okushaba obundi okukwija.
This is what we refer to as evidence triaging.
Bakyeta evidence
To triage the evidence, to sequence the evidence, analysis.
bakyeta ku evidence sequence analysis.
evidence sequence what?
Triage.
Maybe. The last one is what?
Triage, T-R-I-A-G-E.
R-I-A-G-E. Triage. R-I-A-G-E. Triage.
I know the importance of this is that there are certain examinations which must happen before another. If you do them in reverse, it may invalidate the examination of the other. For example, you cannot do maybe fingerprint development using super glue before you do the swabbing for DNA, because then you will destroy the DNA. So the forensic gateway has got that role to play in order to triage, to determine what goes first when you give it to you. They request that you return it as soon as you do the sample. Then all of them will meet at the gateway. Once we are done with everything, pack them, then send them to the station for safe custody.
Ekibakukorera eki bakubasa kukyebera fingerprints nashengara nizakwatire batakakyebera eshagama nibabanza bakyebera eshagama then bongerayo ekyo kintu yaba eri omukulu kyaba babuli omwenda bakukyebera aho engalo zakwatire.
What happens to biological exhibits?
My lord, there are times when the biology so we don't return those biological specimens. If there is sufficient amount, we can take off a sample and return what we have not used in certain situations. Only if
kuba ku bantu bakyebera ebintu ebi kugeza nk'eshagama ahantu ebi batakutyamura kugirira obwigi bwabyo.
only if a credible biohazard threat. And if a credible biohazard threat has not been identified, in which case we shall still not return the balances that we have.
If what?
A credible biohazard threat has been identified.
Credible
Biohazard
biohazard.
threat has been identified, in which case we shall proceed to destroy the specimen.
Destroy
Yes, my lord.
the specimen.
And these exhibits, physical exhibits, those that don't have biohazard are shown to you. You know, identify them.
Yes, my lord. Exhibits that we do release, as I pointed out, are sealed, initialed by the lead examiner.
Go to the biohazard.
Kindly repeat exhibits.
Exhibits that are
Okay, I can identify the exhibits without the biohazard except. Is that what you said?
You said something was that they are sealed.
they are sealed,
They are sealed,
initialed,
initialed
Who ensures
the lead examiner,
by the legal examiner,
and dispatched.
kutukeeza kukyebera ebintu ebi ebitukushanga bidashyisikire
As
tukoma
earlier indicated.
tabosiru tubityamura abishoboire kubikwa
As earlier informed court.
ebitukushanga bishyisikire ntubinama.
Package note number 1.
ekine bokisi erimu ebintu ebiba abantu bagambaho okukoza seal okwebuzibwa.
This is the seal that is placed on the exit package.
Did you mark that one?
Yes.
Ah, good.
This is exhibit. This is package mark 1 of 3.
This mark package one.
Package 1 of 3.
1, 2, 3. Let's continue.
Which I visit on the 30th. This is marked. Visit on the 30th. This should be my hash number.
It's marked release date on
30th of April 2024.
April 2021. It's marked in good.
This is by me. There is my hash number, hash 01.
Nanjirambwera ebintu ekibokisi ekirimu ebintu ebyanangambaho kuba kine namba
My hash number.
akakirekura ebiro by'okwezi 34 gwakana ogw'omwaka.
And the hash number is also initialed on all the seals.
Enamba egyo eryagambaho eryahasiri zoona.
And also the package bears the
So initial on all.
seals.
The package also has
Package also has the laboratory number DFS,
Pardon?
has the laboratory number
Laboratory number, yes, please.
DFS stroke DNA stroke 682 stroke 2023.
egyo bokisi eriho laboratory number national number yibakyebeyiremu ebintu ne DFS stroke DNA stroke kaga 92 stroke 2023.
Can we see the box before you open it?
So we can just take a picture of it. Just before you unseal it.
What,
Yeah, we just want to see the unsealed part.
Before you
My
see,
lord.
before you cut.
Yeah. Just before you cut. Actually, correct, my lord. No, it's a box. Smell. There's also smelling here. That's box.
Protect them professionally.
Right.
You want to deal with professional.
Much of that.
Okay, let's continue. What are you doing? We want to know exactly.
I will be unsealing the package.
And it's sealed.
Bayoni bakomora ekibokisi ekirungamizibwa ne bakama.
This is the only word.
This is packet 1 of 3.
And you want to name.
Package, right?
One of three.
Kindly quickly take us through the exhibit. Explain to us.
I wrote this is a seal package. So this package,
This is,
seal package of exhibit marked.
this is, what is it? What package?
Sealed package.
Sealed package.
Exhibit marked. M5.
Ekyo ekipapula kikomere kirimu
M5.
ekibaire namba M5.
This is how it comes. So we open this side. This is the side we open to retrieve the evidential material. Once we are done, we put it back and we indicate when we process it.
Nikija kikomera kito ky'orubaju tulinamu ekintu tukikoraho kigaragamu tukaza tukikoma.
Set it back. Because that M5. Because that these items are on the side. M5.
Kitwahire namba M5.
And I cannot unravel it because of the space constraints.
Nbaza kukikomora ahabwokuba eshagamba ekolera.
My Lord, this is exhibit marked N7.
ekindi tukakyenamba M7
M7.
M7
My Lord, this is exhibit marked N7.
ekindi tutwaire namba M7
What is that?
My Lord, this M7, this is a pink bed cover with white stripes running horizontally.
My Lord, is it okay if a witness tells us the dates on each package? He had said their dates, so that we can.
Let him tell us.
The dates of receipt.
The date of this, everything, all the dates that we have. Yes, this is not.
This is received on the 3rd of November,
mukakitunga ebiro by'okwezi bushatu 11
and the
On ready,
received on 3rd November 2023,
2023
and processing began on the 4th of November 2023.
tukatandika kukikoraho ebiro 4 okwa 11 2023.
Can we also get the return date? I think he mentioned the return date when he returns it.
is it indicated on the
To the gateway.
Yes.
It's on the main box. Because that's the one that you took the picture.
So everything that was on board,
Give us the
then
market rate.
3rd
Okwa
November 2023.
when you simulate the other net you said was the fourth.
The process.
The process. The other one was very tight. And process. So this one was on 3rd November 2023 and process.
Processed on the 4th of November 2023. Processing began on the 4th of
tukatandika kukikoraho ebiro by'okwezi 4 2023.
So my Lord, as described, this is a light grey bed sheet with the printed words IHK Radiology,
Egi n'eshuka er'ebigabo IHK Radiology.
Because this is your husband, not the rest. What do you want? Okay, wait.
Next is
ekindi tukakye namba D mukaaga
B6.
Yes, ma'am. D Delta 6, D6.
B.
D.
B6, yes.
Yes, processed on the 4th,
tukagaruka kukikoraho ebiro bina
but also received on the 3rd,
twakitunga ebiro bishatu
4th November, when?
2023.
okwikumi nakumwe 2023
3rd of November.
Pink with white, green, brown, light blue striped bed cover.
ekyo
Is there light?
Pink with white, green, brown, light blue striped,
White, green, brown,
light blue striped bed cover.
ekyo ni bed cover erina amabala gabyanaga ekindi tukakye namba 20
Give us the number we did use. This is the other number which we presented earlier.
This is a big package, 2-0. Multicolored towel recovered from the shower.
tukakye namba 20
Exhibit what?
This is the number. This is the 20. 20. The cover of the room. What color is it?
Towels recovered from the shower.
tawero ibayire omukinaabiro
The shower room. That's not much color.
Quite a number of colors here.
Make sure they're brown.
Some blue, there is some green.
Don't get the dates on that one. I didn't get the dates.
Yes, I processed it on the 24th.
tukakitunga ebiro 24
Process on the 24th.
24th of November 2023.
Received on
2024
so was it received?
Let's receive.
Process.
Let's receive.
I thought that was process. I don't know. What did the witness say?
No, you say the process.
Yeah.
Now we want to know whether you received. Is that it?
Yes. I'll check my.
No, you say they were that.
No, that was the
This is the packaging from the.
You said it was there. It has been written.
kataka kutukoraho enkumi
we have been
ebyokwezi makumi abiri na bina
but it is there,
kumi na
so
kumwe
there. Very supposed to have an
It
explanation.
has the date of recovery, not the date of submission. Just,
Okay, yeah, give us whatever that is away.
just in case here, date of time of recovery, 3rd November 2023 at 1600.
tukakitunga ebiro by'okwezi
That was
bishatu
our is
ku ikumi na kumwe kumi ibiri makumi abiri
3rd
n'eshatu
November 2023
okay.
at 1600.
That is good. Do that. What's that?
These are some of the items I talked about. This is a, yes, it's marked.
Mark.
It's marked A to F.
ekyo
This is a
kikakyenamba
blood swab.
ibiri f
It's marked A to F. Suspected blood swab from the western wall of the wardrobe in the master bedroom near the door.
Blackish one,
Yes.
eshagama eyitwikire omukono gwa bumosho omu kishengye aha kishengye
From the western wall of the wardrobe in the master bedroom
aha wardrobe omu kishengye
near the door leading to the washroom and dressing room.
haihi n'omuryango okuza omu kyabiro
we have the door, leading.
Leading to the master bedroom.
Okay, please.
Leading to the washroom and dressing room. Leading to the washroom and dressing room.
The dates?
Yes, processed on the 11th of November
tukagamba kutukoraho ebyo by'okwezi kumi na kimwe okwe 11
On this, process on what this?
11 November 2023.
ebyo by'okwezi kumi na kimwe okwe 11 ku bibiri na makumi abiri n'eshatu
Just this one.
Receipt?
I think that the witness is eshagama
It is better for them to ask now, but now we go back. This is the one thing to clarify. Simple thing. What is next is there? Is there another next?
Yes, processed when processed.
Process.
Next is also processed on the same 11th. 11th.
naye eshagama endiijo
What do you
This is H. This is G, comma H.
kakyenamba g h
Swabs obtained from the part of the wall between southern master bedroom door,
obtain again, sir?
obtained
tukagiha
from the part of the wall between southern master bedroom door
tukagiha aha kishengye
and the washroom door.
omu kishengye kyangwa ahagati y'omuryango gw'ekinabiro n'ogw'ekishengye
So here on this one, as you can see, it says processed 11, but the person who picked the exhibit also has the date when.
tukagitandika kutukoraho ebiro 11 11
So it has it as 8th
n'eshatu
November. This is when he recovered. So when he packaged this, it's for the 8th. Because we don't tamper with the seal of the person who packs, we open the other side. So we indicate where we process.
What is the package?
8th November 2023.
owakiretire akakikoma ebiro by'okwezi 8 okwe 11 2023
And this is another package.
Did you want it?
Yes, I did mark it here. gonna open, but because the wordings are difficult for them.
Yeah. Fine, fine.
This one is processed on the 22nd of November
Katanga kukoraho ebiro amakumi abiri na bisatu
2023. That's when it was started.
kumi na kumwe
Yes.
enkumi ibiri na makumyabiri n'eshatu. What is it?
Exhibit mark 10-1.
Kace namba 10-1.
Seven dash one. What is it? In the summary, not up. What is it?
Paying interest.
Yes, it's taken rest for the wording. There you go.
Kino ekiteeteera ky'ekitengi.
Okay. Okay. The couple, the couple I went to them, but you say the process to the second of. Is it right there?
The second of it.
I didn't see it.
Second.
It's like in the second.
And the second.
Doesn't have time. Second.
That's when the processing started.
Yeah. So please. We don't talk what comes to mind.
Much obliged.
Listen to him. Okay, but if the government is not available, it's not even recover. Let's go by what he did and find out what he did. What do you say? That's the thing.
This is exhibit marked IJ.
Ekintu kace namba IG
Those are swabs obtained from the Western Wall
n'eshagama eyitwaire aha kishengye
of the door frame
eky'omukono gwa bumosho
of the master bedroom.
On the western wall,
ogw'orwigi olw'ekishiri kihango.
Yes.
with the door frame.
Western part of the door frame.
Can it be?
Western part of the door frame of the master bedroom, southern door.
Door frame from the master bedroom,
Southern door.
Can you repeat the whole sentence?
The whole sentence is swabs obtained from the western part of the door frame of the master bedroom, southern door.
What is
Yes, my God. Next is yes, 3 swabs in here.
this is what?
It's 2P and Q
Aha, nyinemu ebicweka by'eshagama bibiri.
2P.
and Q.
Nyinemu eshagama y'emirundi ebiri.
Madam, sorry, I missed on IJ if he gave us the processing date and receipt date.
Can you do the dates?
The officer recovered this, received it on the 8th of November.
That is what?
Yes,
2P.
that is not this one. IJ.
Akakitaho
Received
siiru
it on the 8th of
munana
November
kumi na
2023
kumwe kumi bibiri na makumyabiri n'eshatu.
and processed on the 11th of November.
What is the seal on it?
Yes,
Seal.
yes.
On the 8th of November, and processed. When?
On the 11th of November 2023.
Katanga kukorwaho ebiro by'okwezi 11 kumi na kumwe kumi bibiri na n'eshatu.
That is the last one. Then, not the last one in the sense that it's over.
Next
That's
is,
what we dealt with.
next is 2P and Q.
Ekindi ni ibiri P na Q
sealed on the 8th of November 2023
bakakikoma ebyo by'okwezi munaana okukumi na kumwe enkumi ibiri na makumi abiri n'eshatu
and possessed on 11th November 2023.
bakikoraho ekumi na kimwe okukumi na kumwe enkumi ibiri na makumi abiri n'eshatu.
Is it P and Q or 2 P and Q?
2 P and Q.
Yeah, separate. So there are three.
Yes.
Or number 2 is an exhibit, not 2P, but 2, P and Q.
My lord, there are 3 swords in here. One is labeled 2, another one is labeled P, another one is labeled Q. The next is CI-1.
Ekindi kikakye namba CI-1
That is a swab of I-1. That is a swab of suspected blood stains
n'eshagama ekuteekateekwa
from the concrete ceiling near the light bulb.
kuba yaddire aha omusiiringi ekishengye n'etaara.
Yes, you can see here it's indicated, processed on the 11th of November 2023.
Ekatanga kukoobwaho ebyo by'okwezi ekumi na kimwe okukumi na kumwe enkumi ibiri makumi abiri n'eshatu.
This one in particular, CI-2.
Ekindi ne CI-2.
This is a swab of suspected CI-2. This is a swab of suspected blood stains from the concrete ceiling on the southern wing. Suspected blood stains from the concrete ceiling on the southern wing.
Eki n'eshagama eyitwikire omusiiringi ekishengye omubaju
This one you didn't even bother to open because we had already read that we had a similar explicit.